Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into an incredibly powerful framework from none other than Denzel Washington. It's this mind-blowing blueprint that perfectly balances profound divine inspiration with, well, rigorous, unwavering personal discipline. We're talking about how we define our ambitions, where those ambitions actually come from, and the sheer grit required to make them happen. We're going to break down how Washington views God as the ultimate source of our goals, and why keeping that front and center changes absolutely everything about how you work. So let's just get right into it. This is where Washington completely redefines the whole concept of human ambition. Normally, we think of a desire as just a fleeting wish, right? Or maybe a random craving. But Washington explains that a true desire in the heart for anything good is actually God's proof to you. Think about that internal itch you feel to grow, to create, to help people, or to succeed. He argues that it's sent beforehand to indicate that the good you want is already yours. This completely flips the paradigm. It means God is the direct source of your goals. Those positive aspirations, they aren't random at all. They are literal divine indicators that the success you're itching for is destined to be yours. Because that true desire is basically a divine guarantee, it completely changes how you should tackle your day-to-day life. You can simply say thank you in advance for what is already yours. When you truly grasp that your highest, best ambitions are God's proof of what's destined for you, you can start operating with a mindset of profound gratitude. You're not hustling out of fear or some desperate anxiety anymore. Instead, you operate from a place of thanks, knowing with absolute certainty that the success you seek is already out there, just waiting for you to claim it. But wait, here is the critical pivot in this whole framework. A divine promise just isn't enough on its own. As Washington strongly warns, dreams without goals are just dreams. In fact, if you just sit around clinging to a dream and take zero action, it's ultimately just going to feel disappointment. To achieve the future God has destined for you, you can't just passively sit back and wait for it to magically happen. You absolutely must set concrete, practical milestones. Goals are the necessary stepping stones you actually need to claim your future. So the really crucial point here is that you have to actively claim your destined future by getting incredibly specific. You need to set yearly goals, monthly goals, and then zoom all the way into daily goals. Washington actively tries to give himself a goal every single day. And, it's important to point out that it doesn't always have to be some monumental, earth-shattering achievement. He actually jokes that sometimes a daily goal is as simple as just choosing not to curse someone out. The whole point is to take that massive, divine dream and break it down into manageable, actionable daily targets. Bridging that gap between a divine promise and tangible reality, well, that requires relentless effort. To actually achieve your goals, you must apply discipline, and you have to apply consistency every single day, not just, working hard on Tuesday and taking the rest of the week off. You have to plan, because as the old saying goes, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. It takes serious hard work, and maybe most importantly, you have to be willing to take chances and fail big. Washington brings up this old IQ test with 9 dots, where you have to draw 5 lines without ever lifting your pencil. The only way to solve it, you have to draw outside the box. You've got to be willing to think outside the box, work harder than anybody else, and risk failing big to make those goals a reality. Now, while you're putting in all that hard work, you really have to understand the difference between movement and progress. We live in this hyper-fast, super distracted world, what Washington playfully calls a tweet-twerk world. And in this kind of environment, doing a lot doesn't necessarily mean you're actually getting a lot done. He shares this great piece of wisdom from his mother. You can run in place all the time and never actually get anywhere. You have to carefully audit your actions. Make sure you avoid confusing mere movement, which is really just burning energy and running in place, with actual progress, which is strategically moving forward and getting things done. Okay, so let's say you have the divine desire, you apply the discipline, and you make incredible progress. You achieve massive wealth and success. What is it all for? Let's transition to the ultimate purpose of life. You'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. I'm going to say that again, because it really makes you stop and think. You will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. It literally doesn't matter how much money you make, how huge your house is, or how many things you accumulate. You simply can't take any of it with you when you pass on. True wealth isn't found in cars or fancy jewelry or status symbols. True joy and success are found in helping others. It's not about how much you have. It's about what you do with the talents and the resources you've been given. Washington points out something kind of funny. He notes that, ironically, the most selfish thing you can do in this world is to help someone else. Now, why is it selfish? Because the gratification, the deep goodness, and the profound joy that comes directly back to you from lifting other people up, It's better than any material possession you could ever buy. That feeling of helping others is where true success actually lives. To maintain this perspective of humility and service every single day, Washington offers a highly visual physical practice. He suggests that tonight, before you go to sleep, you should put your slippers way under your bed. Why? So that when you wake up in the morning, you are physically forced to get down on your knees just to reach them. And while you are down there on your knees, you say thank you. You express profound gratitude for foundational blessings: grace, mercy, understanding, wisdom, parents, love, kindness, humility, peace, and prosperity. It's this brilliant daily ritual that centers your mind on gratitude before the day even really begins. And this daily gratitude ultimately builds into a lifelong mandate: each one, teach one. What this means is that once you achieve your goals, through God's grace and your own disciplined hard work, your job is still not finished. When you get to where you're going, you must reach back and pull someone else up. You use your success, your knowledge, and your platform to become a stepping stone for the absolute next person in line. Which leaves every single one of us with a pretty profound question to answer. Are you just making a living, or are you making a difference? When you align those pure divine desires placed in your heart with relentless, disciplined action, you elevate yourself way above merely surviving. You move from just paying the bills to stepping into a truly purposeful and impactful life. So embrace the desire, put in the discipline, and reach back to help others. That wraps up our explainer for today. I really hope this framework helps you start making a true difference in your own life.